session. If you take the stand, Mr. Ravello, and we'll continue with cross-examination.
So we use talking parents to communicate. Well, did the court order talking parents as the way of communication?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what are you familiar with the setup of talking parents?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the PDF version of it after you requested to print everything?
Yes.
Your Honor, can we move to Exhibit C, my Exhibit C, number 30?
Okay? It's probably marked 3 in your booklet there, sir.
Got it.
Can you turn to the first page?
I'm there.
Okay. Are you familiar with this document, or do you know what it is?
I'm familiar with the entire Talking Parents record.
Okay. Alrighty. Your Honor, I'd like to move to have this submitted. This exhibit, I believe.
All right.
No objection to its submission, but with the same notes.
Caveat that the personal notes shall not be...
Missing pages. Yes.
All right, same ruling, the court will disregard any personal notations, and this is probably a duplicate of portions of what the plaintiff has in their exhibits, but I'll go ahead and admit it, and that's fine.
Okay. Can you look to the heading that says paternity?
Yes.
Under your name, can you read the first message?
Gladly. Stick this in your paternity test.
Okay, can you read your following message?
Gladly. Maybe Steve Sanson is the dad.
Okay. Now, did the court order a paternity test?
You requested one and they
Well, my question is, did
agreed.
the court order a paternity test?
They did.
Already. So were you aware that the baby has been breastfeeding since he was born?
I've never breastfed him. I don't know what you do.
My question is, are you aware that he had been breastfeeding since he was born?
I know you claimed that, but I never saw proof.
Did you ever see me breastfeeding in the hospital?
I don't recall.
Are you aware that babies do breastfeed from their mothers?
Objection. Relevance.
I'll sustain it. I don't think he was saying it, and I think the line of questioning is simply, you can testify, it's, you know, I think we're just wasting time here. It's clear that you allege that you were breastfeeding. It's clear that there's text back and forth about, you've got to give me the milk then. If you don't give me the milk, I'm going to use formula. So, you know, and sir, your responses were not only non-responsive, they were rather sarcastic to say, I know you claimed, but I never saw you breastfeeding. Neither one of you are helping each other.
Apologies to the court. I just don't want to participate in wasting time.
You knew that she was claiming that she was breastfeeding and she wanted the child to not have formula, correct? That's what her text messages to you were about.
Okay, sure.
Is that correct?
Well, I didn't know what she wanted in place of formula. I didn't know what the other options were.
Okay.
Okay, so, did you ever receive a message from me that, told you not to give the baby, any, formula? Because he was solely breastfed?
Very possible.
Okay, and, did you give the baby formula?
Yes.
Do you continue to give the baby formula?
I now give him what's called a nutritional drink, which is for toddlers his age, but I gave him formula before that.
What type of formula were you giving him?
Like a brand?
Yeah, what type of formula? You're the one who gives him formula. What type of formula were you giving?
Enfamil brand formula?
Okay, and what are the ingredients in it?
Objection.
She can ask.
I can't name every ingredient in the formula.
Okay. Do you know any ingredient that's in that formula?
I could guess, but I don't have it memorized, no.
Okay. Why did you decide to go with the formula with Enfamil brand over all other formulas?
Why did I pick that particular brand?
Yeah, why did you just decide to go with Enfamil brand over other brands of formula?
I read internet reviews.
Did you actually take him to a doctor prior to giving him formula?
I've taken him to a doctor one time, but
My question is, did you take him to a doctor prior to giving him that formula?
I don't recall the order of events. I've taken him to the doctor once.
Okay. Did a doctor prescribe that formula to you for him?
I don't know if babies are prescribed formula, so there was never a
Well, my
prescription.
question
No.
is, did a doctor prescribe that formula to you for the baby?
No.
Okay. And are you aware that did I notify you that he had a milk allergy to cow's milk?
You claimed that, but never showed proof.
Okay. And do you continue to give the baby cow's milk to this day?
I give him whole milk occasionally.
And whole milk comes from?
A cow.
Okay. Alrighty, and what foods does the baby like to eat?
His very favorite food is blueberries. I feed him a variety of fruits and vegetables, some meats. I try to follow diets recommended by trusted websites.
Okay, have you ever taken him to a doctor to assess his diet to make sure? Has a doctor ever recommended a diet for him?
No, when I took him to the doctor, they couldn't recommend
Well, my
anything.
question was, did a doctor ever recommend a diet for him to you?
There are doctors who write journals online, and I read them.
Did a doctor specifically recommend a diet for him to you?
No.
Okay. And when you took your parenting class, what ages did it cover?
It was for infant care.
And what age is an infant?
Objection. Relevance.
Relevance?
I'm trying to establish just knowing how to take care of the baby.
Overruled. Do you remember the age, up to what age the parenting classes covered?
I think it was up to 6 or 9 months.
Okay, and when you first began visitation, how old was the baby? After parenting agreement, how old was the baby?
About 6 months.
Okay, and have you taken any subsequent parenting classes since then?
No.
Um, Okay, so when you began your parenting class, I'm sorry, when you began your visitation, did the judge order you to provide your own food for the baby?
Did the judge?
Yeah.
Well, part of our parenting agreement was you agreed to provide me with
My
breast
question
milk.
was, when you began your visitation schedule, did the judge order you to provide your own food? I provide my own food for the baby. The order, not the agreement.
I believe that was assumed. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So in the same exhibit, can we turn to the page that says 102 of 115, towards the middle?
I'm sorry, which exhibit was this?
The same one,
Number 6?
C,
number
3?
3.
C?
C.
Okay.
Page 102 of 115.
I don't have that page in this exhibit. It ends at 59.
What's
It's
the
in
page?
there. It says page 102 of 115.
I have 12 through 59 here.
So apparently that exhibit doesn't, whatever your copy is and his copy don't agree.
I don't have any following for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at a different one, I'm sorry. Can we move to my exhibit 2, which is B? Are you on the first page?
Yes.
Okay. So are you familiar with the form, with this, what this document is?
Again, I'm familiar with the entire Talking Parents record, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to move to have this exhibit also entered.
I'll admit it knowing that it is not a complete copy of the exhibit and that any handwritten notations will be ignored by the court.
Okay. Can you turn to page 102 of 115 of that exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. So, on that page, can you read the last message?
Sure. I stated, I'll be there at 10:30 a.m. and I suggest you pack a bag with all the food he needs.
Okay, so earlier, did you read a comment that you wrote that said, I have no food, correct?
I don't know.
Okay, Your Honor, can I refresh the witness' memory?
It's another page you want him to look at, or on the
Yeah,
same page?
It was earlier, but yeah, it was earlier.
Well, then I'm
In
going to
this-
object to ask and answer.
In this stream? Well, I'm not sure, I mean, does it go with this text, or what's the,
Kind of, yeah.
well, is it all this text, or is it from a completely separate day and separate
It's
conversation?
a separate, no, actually, it's following this. It's November 13, 2018. This comment was November 11, 2018, so it's just.
Okay, so then just say turn to November 13th, 2018, and what did you say then?
Okay,
Is it in the same exhibit, or is it a different exhibit?
it's in a different exhibit that was already admitted.
Again, Your Honor, I'm not sure what the point of this exercise is. It was, she asked him about a different
Your Honor,
conversation
but
in
it's
a
my turn
different
to do
exhibit.
Just a minute.
cross-examination.
She asked him about a different conversation in a different exhibit. There was testimony about that conversation in that exhibit. It's
Correct.
in the record, it's asked
So-
and answered, so I'm not sure what we're refreshing
So if you-
recollection on.
I don't think you are refreshing recollection, you're asking a whole new question, which you can do, just isn't refreshing recollection. You asked him if at some point previously he had said, that he didn't have food. Well, it's not relevant if his issue is here, and it also can't be taken out of context in terms of what the discussions were with regard to the food. Are we talking about breast milk? Are we talking about whole food? Are we talking about, starter food for babies? Without reading the entire Talking Parents, taking it out of context doesn't do me any good. So I certainly assume that when he gets back to his case in chief, at some point, he's going to move to admit the entire Talking Parents record. But you're certainly free to ask him to read whatever portions you want to from your exhibits.
Okay. Alright, so, let's go back to Exhibit C, 3. I'm sorry, no, D. Let's go to D4. So are you familiar with what this document is? Do you know what this is?
I think it's already been
Again,
admitted.
I'm familiar with the entire Talking Parents record, so we don't need to keep repeating this.
It's already been admitted.
Okay. So, did you always come pick up the baby when you were supposed to?
I believe I missed one exchange due to a mistake I made in the schedule
Okay.
on New Year's Day.
Can we turn to page 4 of 115, the very first page of Exhibit 4? Okay. Right under the heading 9/11 Morning Exchange, can you go ahead and read the message there?
I am unable to pick up Julian today due to flu-like symptoms and physical illness. You can have him today and tomorrow. Let me know if this is a problem.
Was this during your time that you were supposed to have him?
Yes, but since I made you aware, I didn't consider that to be a missed exchange.
Do you believe that parents should take time off from parenting when they're sick?
Yes.
Can we turn to the next page? All right, the very top message. Can you go ahead and read that?
I can't make 7 a.m. exchange tomorrow. I can meet later in the day around 4 or 5 p.m. Or the next morning at 7 a.m., which works better.
Okay. Can we go ahead and turn to the next page, 8 of 115? Can you go ahead and read the first message under Julian updates? Well, yeah, read the first message.
Julian has been great the last few days. He's eating a lot of fruit and drinking a lot of water and juice. He loves climbing on the couch and running, jumping, and playing with his basketball.
The message continues.
I am scheduled to have him Wednesday and Thursday of this week. I'm wondering if you'd like to have him Thursday instead of me, as I have a work trip this weekend. If you are willing, I would drop him off Thursday morning instead of Friday morning. Please let me know as soon as possible.
Okay, so earlier you stated that you create your own schedule, correct?
Yes.
Okay, could you have scheduled around your your visitation time with him.
I certainly could have, but I thought we could work together.
Okay, can we turn to the next page? Okay, can you read the second message on the page?
I'm running late today. I'll be there around 7:20 a.m., leaving apartment now.
Okay, and then at the very bottom under parenting situation, can you read the last two messages?
I'll be 10 to 15 minutes late because I was parked in this morning. I'm leaving ASAP.
Okay. Perfect. Can we move to my exhibit 9, also I? Okay, do you know what this document is?
Not right now.
Um,
If I read it, I could probably figure it out.
Can you go ahead and read the title to yourself?
State of Wisconsin
No, to
Department.
yourself, to yourself.
Don't read it out loud, read it to yourself. Just read it silently. That's what she's asking you to do.
Do you know what this document is?
I've never seen this particular document. I could probably use context clues.
Okay, and on the document, is that your name and your date of birth?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to move to have this admitted, this exhibit admitted.
She says he's never seen that document, and you haven't laid the foundation.
Okay, can you, no, it's okay, well, I'll pass on that one and I'll use it in my testimony.
Okay, if you can lay a foundation, that's fine. You can also just ask him, is it true, such and such and such and such? He can say yes or no, but
Okay, so, have you ever lived at 333 Tigard Street in Ripon, Wisconsin?
Yes.
Okay, and, okay, on March 3rd, 2016, were you arrested?
Possibly.
Okay. What were you arrested for?
I'm sorry, it's only because I'm not sure the specific date, but around that time, I was arrested for driving under the influence.
Okay, and then, also on March 23rd, on March 23rd, 2008, were you arrested?
Yes.
I'm gonna
Okay.
object to any questions about anything from 2008. It's more than 10 years old on residence grounds.
Your Honor, it's still background history of the plaintiff. It's still,
2008 is too stale under the statutes. So I'll sustain that objection.
okay. Back to 2016, so you were arrested and you said it was for driving under the influence, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so, how often do you drink?
At that time or now?
At that time, now?
That's,
Which
you
question?
got two different things. there.
Okay, how often did you drink at that time?
At that time, I was drinking more than I do now.
And what's more than you do now?
Now, I never drink when I'm with my son. That's half the time.
Well, my question is, how,
He's about to answer it, and the rest of the time,
The rest of the time I drink in moderation and in social situations, never at home.
approximately how much is that per day, and what?
Not even one drink per day, maybe 5 drinks per month is an estimate.
And what kinds of things?
I drink beer from Wisconsin.
Okay.
and you find beer from Wisconsin in Las Vegas?
Yep, it isn't particularly relevant, but beers that are manufactured in Wisconsin end up being transported all over. It's just like Coors being manufactured in Colorado or whatnot, so.
Were you ever arrested for domestic violence?
Objection. This is, again, she's trying to sneak in this
Your Honor,
2008 conversation.
One moment. The
It's
question
established.
is, you need to give something that's relevant to a time period here. Not, were you ever arrested for domestic violence?
Okay, in your adult years, after you became 18, were you ever arrested for domestic
Still
violence?
gonna object, he's 34 years old.
I agree, that's not relevant.
You can ask him in the last 10 years.
You can ask him within the last 10 years, because the statute allows that, and actually doesn't even allow arrests, but that's all right. We do allow the question to be asked. And you can ask whether or not it's occurred within the period of time when the two of you have had a relationship.
Okay. Were you arrested on January 30th, 2009, in the past 2 years?
That's not in the last 10 years.
2009?
2009.
January 30th of 2009?
But it's still
Almost
the year.
11 years ago.
It's still the year.
It's not within 10 years, Your Honor.
We're way far afield here. That doesn't show and establish that domestic violence has occurred
Oh, no,
involving
it's
you
not.
and
This
your
is
son.
something different. This is completely different.
No?
We're getting awfully stale here in terms of this, so no, I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay, on April 4th, 2016, did you have your license revoked?
Yes.
Okay, when you came to Las Vegas in 2017, did you drive?
I had my license back. It was revoked for 6 months.
Said it was revoked a few
It
times?
was revoked for 6 months.
And why was your license revoked?
Because of driving under the influence
Okay,
conviction.
okay. Your Honor, no further questions.
Redirect.
Very, very brief. I just wanted to take you back to Defendant's Exhibit J. I believe it's labeled 10 in yours. It was the email that you testified about.
Okay.
Defendant asked you about your signature there. Did you, when you sent that email, did you hand type all that information into the body of the email?
No, that's my automatic signature that goes on all my emails.
Thank you. And then, there was a lot of looking at the talking parent record. If you could flip over to our exhibit set and go to Exhibit 12, and just take a moment to go through that exhibit. Do you recognize that exhibit?
If it's talking parents, I recognize all of that, yes.
Just make sure you find it.
Which page?
It's Exhibit 12.
Yes.
I think it's the thickest exhibit in the whole set.
Yes, I recognize this.
Okay. And is that the talking parent record communications between the
Your Honor,
record,
objection to.
the record of talking parent communications between you and the defendant?
It's not leading, he's asking you to identify the record, that's its foundation.
Yes, it's the conversation between myself and the defendant.
On the talking parent platform?
On talking parents, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to admit our proposed Exhibit 12.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, it'll be admitted.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll take our noon recess unless you have a very quick witness, which I doubt.
Well, I actually have,
Including cross-examination.
right. I mean, I have 5 witnesses out there that are all probably 10 to 15 minutes each, and so we could probably get one of them in if you wanted
All right.
to do that. I will try to take maybe the shortest of
You can
those
step down
5.
and
Okay,
go
thank you.
back to the council table. Leave the exhibits up there if you would, please.
Leave both? Okay. Sorry, I got them out of order here. All right, that's a good one.
Let me just consult with my client real quick about which of these 2 is going to be the quickest. All right, we call Sean Karsten.
You do solemnly swear testimony about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do.
Good morning, Mr. Karsten. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Sean Karsten, ShawnKarsten.
And where do you presently reside?
Ripon, Wisconsin.
Do you know either of the parties in this case today?
I do.
Do you know the gentleman to my right, your left?
Yes.
And how do you know him?
We've been friends since 1992 when I moved to Ripon.
What about the defendant here? Do you know her at all?
I do. I got to know her once her and Nick started dating. And,
Do you remember what year that was that you met her?
I think it would have been maybe late 2017, early 2018. Yep.
And that was, you met her, you said in Wisconsin?
Correct.
Okay. Have you met Julian?
I have.
Okay, and when did you first meet Julian?
So I've seen Julian 3 times. The first time was, I think, late summer of 2018 when Nick was back in Wisconsin. It was the first opportunity. I have kids of my own. I had a daughter at that time, and so it was the first opportunity I had to kind of introduce the 2 of them, which was a cool moment for us.
Objection, Your Honor. Witness is not answering the direct question that was asked.
He did start to answer it, but
Late summer 2018.
Okay. When most recently have you seen Julian?
I think it was for his first birthday party.
this year.
Objection,
April.
leading question. I mean, leading, actually.
It
the
just was
attorneys-
that earlier this year, that's fine, just to lay foundation for a date, it didn't tell him what date it was.
And have you ever, been around Nick and Julian together at the same time?
I have on 3 separate occasions.
Okay. And what are your general observations? You said you're a parent yourself, correct?
Objection,
What are your-
leading
One
question.
moment. Asking him what are his general observations is not a leading question. It's an open-ended question.
What are your general observations of
Objection.
Nick and Julian's relationship?
Go ahead.
Open-ended.
No. It's permissible, that's why it's not leading.
Oh, okay.
It's just ask him to give his observations of the two of them together.
Okay.
So it's not leading. Go ahead, sir, you may answer the question.
My observations was that they had a great relationship. Being a father myself, the first thing that I noticed that Julian really loved Nick, and that they had clearly a special relationship. Personally, it was special for me. I spent a lot of time speaking with Nick leading up to the birth of Julian, and knew how excited he was to become a father. So having those unique opportunities to spend some time with my good friend and my child and his child together was very special.
Do you have any concerns at all about?
Objection, leading question.
You probably are getting into leading now, Mr. Luttrell.
I don't think I am. Can I finish the question and then you can rule?
Sure.
Do you have any concerns at all about Nick's ability to parent Julie?
Objection, leading
I
question.
don't see how that's leading at all.
He's asking him about any concerns.
No, what he's doing is asking if he has any concerns. Doesn't apply whether he has them or not, so I agree, it's not leading, overruled.
Based on the time that I've personally been around Nick and Julian together, I do not have any concerns in Nick being a father to Julian.
I have no further questions.
Cross?
Okay. Sean, do you live in Las Vegas?
No,
Okay, when did you arrive to Las Vegas?
last night.
Have you ever been to Las Vegas since the baby was born?
I have not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Please don't discuss the testimony that you gave on the stand with any other witness in the case. You're free to leave at this time if you choose to do so.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll take our lunch and recess.
All right, sounds good. What time are we back, Your Honor?
1:30, please.
All